like this. They stood there as the city lights blinked below like distant stars trying to offer comfort. Inside, the penthouse was immaculate, expensive, cold. But the only warmth came from two people trying desperately not to lose something fragile. Liam took Jason's hand, fingers lacing tightly, and led him inside. But even with Jason beside him, the weight in Liam's chest didn't fade. Because deep down he knew, no matter how tightly he held Jason tonight, a day was coming when Jason would finally walk away, unless Liam made a choice. And made it soon. The salty wind tangled gently through Jason's hair as he stepped barefoot onto the private deck. Beyond the railing, the ocean stretched endlessly, soft waves folding onto the sand with a rhythm that felt almost like steady breathing. Glance back at the beach house glass walls catching the soft afternoon light. It was expensive, isolated, hidden. Perfect for two people who cared for each other but couldn't be seen together. Liam walked out carrying 2 mugs of coffee. His t-shirt clung lightly to his chest. His hair, "I can handle being hurt, Liam. What I can't handle is feeling erased." The words hit Liam harder than he expected. He looked away, unable to argue with truth spoken so clearly. Jason wasn't attacking him. He was explaining what it felt like to love someone who lived in 2 worlds at once. Liam changed the subject abruptly. "Let's go for a swim." Jason raised a brow. "It's freezing." "That's the point," Liam said. Pulling off his shirt and dropping it onto the deck, Jason watched him for a moment, then finally let out a small, real smile. "You're impossible." And yet, Liam replied with a soft grin, "You're still here." Minutes later, they were waist-deep in the cold Pacific water. They shivered, laughed, splashed to people shaking off the weight of their lives for a brief, breathless moment. Liam ducked under and came up behind Jason, looping his arms around him loosely. Jason leaned back into him, eyes closed, salt water clinging to his lashes. "Promise me something," Jason whispered. "Anything when whatever this is, when it changes, when the bubble bursts, don't lie to me." Him. Near the far wall stood a man in a sharp black coat, head slightly lowered, sunglasses still on, even indoors. Jason's breath caught. It was Liam. Liam pretended to study one of the paintings, one of Jason's most personal pieces. 2 men sitting on opposite sides of a bed, backs turned, distance blazing between them, neither reaching. Liam didn't move toward Jason, didn't smile, didn't even take off the sunglasses. Jason waited anyway. Waited for Liam to walk across the room. Waited for him to stand beside him. Waited for anything that showed he wasn't hiding. But minutes later, Liam turned and quietly slipped out, like a shadow disappearing between the lights. Jason's hand tightened around his glass until he thought it might break in his fingers. The gallery was a success. Her paintings sold, reviewers already posting praise online. Yet Jason felt completely hollow. An hour later, he sat on. "Then why did you leave?" Liam finally closed the distance between them and gently brushed the side of Jason's face with his knuckles. "Because if I had stayed, I would have walked over to you, taken your hand, and kissed you right there. And I wasn't ready for what would come next." Jason's eyes lowered. "I wanted you to stay," he whispered. "Even if you didn't touch me. Even if you just stood there like you were proud to be part of my life." In daylight, Liam said quietly, "You do matter. Then prove it." Liam hesitated. Not a retreat, not a refusal, just a pause. But that pause was the problem. They had lived inside pauses for too long. Jason took a deep breath and stepped back. "I need time." Liam blinked. "What? Time to think? Time to breathe without wondering if I'll spend the rest of my life only seeing you behind closed doors?" Liam's voice cracked. "Are you leaving me?" Jason shook his head gently. "Not yet. But I need space. Because I can't keep waiting for a version of you that might never show up." He turned toward the half-finished canvas. Liam stood there for a moment, quietly breaking, then moved toward the door. Before leaving, he spoke in a rough whisper. "I'll try, Jason." Jason didn't turn around. "Don't try. Choose." The door clicked shut. Jason stared at the drowning figure on the canvas and wondered if he had been painting himself all along. 2 days passed. No calls, no messages. No, Liam. Jason stood in his studio, surrounded by quiet and empty canvases. He took the painting of the figure walking away from the city off the wall. Then he painted something new, a single figure standing on a balcony, looking out, not toward the city, but forward, across town. Liam sat in the back of his black car, the gala invitation trembling in his hand. The Carter-Navy merger celebration? Cameras, flashes, smiles. He should feel victorious, but he felt hollow. Should we escort Mr. Rivera through the back entrance if he joins you? His assistant asked carefully. Liam's stomach sank. He's not coming, she added softly. He hadn't called. He hadn't replied. And though Liam had meant every word of his note, the silence was unbearable. That night, Jason stood before the canvas of the walking figure. His phone rested beside him. He hovered over Liam's contact. Then he deleted it. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness. Out of self-respect. I can't wait anymore, he whispered. Across town. The gala erupted in champagne, laughter and flashing cameras. Liam moved through the crowd, a practiced smile masking the ache in his chest. But his eyes searched for one person he knew would not appear. He excused himself from a group, walked into a quiet hallway, pressed his hands to the wall, and stared at his reflection. A man with everything and nothing real. He dialed. Liam's number. Nothing. He tried again. Nothing. Then he typed a message. I told the world I'd wait until I was ready. But now I know I was just afraid. And I'm done being afraid. He stared at the screen. Then deleted it. It wasn't enough. Back at the studio, Jason watched a live stream on his laptop. His heart stopped when he saw Liam, billionaire Liam Carter, publicly declaring his love for an unknown man. He's the only truth I've ever had, Liam said to the cameras. Jason's breath caught. His fingers shook. Then slowly, a smile spread across his face. At the gala, Liam's voice carried across the ballroom, steady but raw. Tonight was supposed to be about a merger, but I'm calling off the script. I've spent years protecting my image, building Carter Holdings, becoming the man you see here tonight. But I've also spent those same years hiding the part of myself that mattered most. I was afraid. Afraid that love would ruin me. Afraid of losing approval, investors' legacy. And then I realized, what's the point of a legacy if it costs you the only person who ever made you feel real? He lifted his gaze to the cameras. His name is Jason Rivera. He's an artist. He paints with his heart, loves with both hands, and he's the only truth I've ever known.